Greetings, actives, and welcome to the September Founders Call. I'm joined by my partner, David Brown here, and it's great to have all of you here. Welcome, and any of you who are brand new to the company or visiting us for the first time, welcome to the Founders Call. David and I do this Zoom. We call it a call. It's really a Zoom, isn't it? The middle of every month. We try to hit it right on the 15th of each and every month. And on this Zoom, we like to talk about some highlights from the previous month and things that we're excited about that are coming down the pipeline. And we'll share a little bit with you about what's coming down around the corner as well. We've got some great things that are going to be happening between now and the end of the year. So, David, let's get the Zoom started. Welcome. How are you doing? Obviously, you and I talk all the time, and we talk about September, but why don't you kick this off and share with everybody, some of the highlights for you, particularly specifically as it relates to September.
Well, it was a great month. It's great to see you, Ryan. August was really an exemplary and a singular month in a lot of ways. In lots of industries that aren't devoted primarily to summer type products like swimsuits or barbecues or things, they can have kind of a lag in the summer months because it's a big vacation month and people are off doing other things. There's lots of distractions. There's the beach. There's getting kids ready for school in August and all that kind of stuff. And that's true. We kind of tend to be focused on where we live, but that's really true everywhere, right? It's true in Mexico. It's true in Colombia. It's true in Peru. It's true everywhere. And so those can be challenging months for companies like ours and in our industry. Especially it can be challenging if we had a great, record-setting month like we did in July, and sometimes say, what's August going to be like? Well, August in some respects, was actually, in my mind, even better than July. We were actually almost exactly even. So that was tremendous. But the fact that with all those distractions, and with the fact that there were things going on to take people away, the fact that we did just as well and virtually tied our record-setting month of July, I thought was extraordinary. And especially since, we have Mexico has been our bell cow, has been the engine to this train ever since we started, and rightfully so. They've had a head start on everybody else, but they've really been driving, and July was spectacular for them. August was also very strong, but not quite as strong as July was. And what's great is that the other markets, particularly the US, really picked it up. We're seeing some just tremendous growth. And it's awesome because in the past, the growth in the US, like Mexico, has been driven by Spanish speakers. And that growth continues to be strong. But now the English side is really picking up some great growth, some great traction. We have some great leaders. It was fun. Recently, we talked about recognizing the Albertsons hitting A11. Sean and Chris Bell out of Orangeville, Utah hit A8. I only half jokingly tell people that I think that Sean's success is becoming an A8 in 2 months is largely due to the fact that he's a sheriff in his county, and I think he threatens people that he gives them an option. You can go to jail, you can join ACTIVZ, and maybe it's not quite like that, but they're growing strong. They've got some compadres down there. Some friends are also doing just awesome. They've got people like the Jukeses, Jennifer and Greg Jukes, who just hit A6, the Jeff, Sean and Laura Jeff, who hit A6, and all in this little tiny area that doesn't have a big population. But Ryan, you and I have talked about that before, that sometimes those small areas can just really be tremendous areas of growth because people know each other and they want to lock arms and succeed together. That's kind of awesome. But then we have this area in the Northwest led by Diane Young, who hit A7, Matt Felton, who hit A5, and Colleen Durfee, who hit A6, and it's just, these different groups. And also the thing that's cool is they're all working together. They're different. They're sidelined to each other. They're not all part of the same organization, but they really are getting everybody jazzed up and psyched and moving forward. So August was great. September is awesome, and I think it's just we're just on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I agree. Historically, like you said, August tends to be a challenging month in the direct selling industry throughout, regardless of the company. you know, year after year after year after year across multiple companies, that's always the case. We had an incredible month. We had an incredible month, David. I can remember about halfway through the month thinking, well, I think vacations are going to be kicking in any time now. And, you know, always looking at Mexico kind of as our biggest market, as the barometer for what we think is going to happen. And it was great to see that a lot of people, while they may have taken their vacations, you wouldn't have known it by looking at our numbers. We had some great rank advancements. You know, you talked about some of those. For me, kind of some of my highlights for August were really, it was based on August, but what happened was early the first weekend of September, for everybody who's you know, watching this Zoom, we had is normally when we run the report and we see who rank advanced, right, from the month of August. And I was down in Mexico, as you know, and I was down in Guadalajara at our second ever ACTIVZ Academy. Well, I should say it was our third, but it was our second in person, because we've only just started doing this, you know, these meetings in person now. And it was great to be down there. It was actually about 40-minute drive outside of Guadalajara for any of you who have been there before, out in the country in a small town called Chapala, right on the shores of the largest lake in all of Mexico. And to give you guys a sense of the size, it was maybe half the size of Lake Tahoe, maybe the size of, I think maybe Lake Mead, David, you know, roughly around there. It was a big lake. It was a really beautiful lake surrounded by rolling hills and a few you know, shorter mountain peaks. I got to meet several Americans who traveled down there, who spoke Spanish, who qualified as A8. We had some new A10s. You know, you mentioned these new leaders that are stepping up here in the U.S. We had one leader that I just met, Luis Hernandez from Mesquite, Nevada, just hit A10 during the month of August. And it was interesting because we think about, well, gosh, where are we growing? You know, we look at Mexico and the U.S. We actually had a new A10, a new individual qualify as A10 from Colombia, Miguel Angel Jimenez. And so it really goes to show that where there's a will, there's a way. You know, David, I'm going to share my screen here real quick, because when I think about August and I think about how we've kind of started off September, I need to share my screen and share a couple pictures with everybody that we actually have not published these. Some of you may have seen a recap video from the ACTIVZ Academy down in Guadalajara, but when they say a picture says 1,000 words, my English is getting kind of clunky here, David, that a picture is worth 1,000 words. These pictures for me really embody that. And I want to tell you what they kind of symbolize for me, you know, as we have closed out our summer months. We're now in September. So let me see if I can do this on a live Zoom here. Okay, here's the first one. This is just Jessica, myself, and Adriana, but I want everyone to look at this picture. Okay, so we have here, these are people sitting in the audience. These are all A8s and above. We had people who are above A8. Some of them purchased tickets to be there. Some of our higher leaders were there. But most of the people here, 90%, are brand new A8s who qualified. I want you to look at their faces. Obviously, some are more in focus than others, but you can see that there's real emotion on the faces of these people. And this was during one of the exercises that we did down there, David, where we wanted people to get in touch with a part of their mind, a part of their spirit, a part of their heart that that sometimes we run from versus face. And this was all in the spirit of having people overcome not only limiting beliefs, but maybe fears that they've had that are holding them back. And you can see some of that emotion. And this was a powerful moment in the event. And here's another picture. This is Cristina Esteves. She's an A10 from she's in the foreground from Peru. And you can really see the emotion on her face. And as people kind of walked through this exercise of facing their fears and really deciding what they were going to accomplish and really getting in touch with their passion. And that was kind of thematic of this event. I like this picture. This is Paulina de Leon. She's an A9 from northern Mexico, a place called Saltillo near Monterrey, in a great hug. And when I look at this, this is what ACTIVZ is for me. And this is what, when I get together with distributors, David, I know that you're the same way. This is what it's all about. It's people connecting. It's these personal connections that we make with each other to help buoy each other up, to help lift each other up, to become better and bigger, better versions of ourselves. And it's that belief, it's believing in oneself and also believing in other people that really is why we're growing as a company. And one of our defining factors as to why I believe we're great. Here's some more pictures taken from the front of the room, just to give everybody a sense there. It's one of those things, David, where I really wish every single person, the entire company could be there, could be a fly on the wall, and could just experience some of the emotion of this event. It really was, sort of, for me, a testament that we're in the right place at the right time here at ACTIVZ. We have cutting edge technology that doesn't exist in any other company. And that clearly delineates us from other nutrition companies, other direct selling companies. We also have, an incredible business opportunity that's empowering people and helping them take charge of their lives. But you've often said this, and I've adopted it as my own, but our most valued asset is who you're looking at right now, our people. The people who are sitting in that room, who are standing in that room, the people who are listening to this Zoom, and anybody who has gotten involved with ACTIVZ and has taken a chance to bet on themselves. And in some cases, they've bet on themselves for the first time ever in their life. So I wanted to share these pictures with everybody today on this Zoom, because for me, that's my highlight from August, right? Coming out of August and starting the new month of September, it actually started with that event. And it was really a great exclamation point to a great month of August. And it has been sort of the great tip of the spear as we've started September, because we're really cranking. A lot of people have their kids going back to school, but I really hope that everybody on the Zoom digs deep, get connected with why you're here, with your why, get connected with your purpose. And I don't want to be too woo-woo or esoteric, but follow the steps in the success guide. In the Active Success Guide, on the very first page, it talks about how to find your why. And that's something that we did there in Guadalajara. Seems like a very basic thing to do with fairly advanced distributors and business builders, but it is by far the most important thing that we do every single day, each one of us. There's nothing that's more important than connecting with your why or with your purpose and being purpose driven and knowing who you are. And so follow the steps in the success guide. The second page talks about taking all out massive action, what to do in your first 90 days. The third page of the success guide talks about step one, how to create your list and how to contact people. And and then subsequent pages, how to present, how to follow up, how to overcome challenges, how to close, how to duplicate and repeat. And it's not, it doesn't have everything. It's not a perfect document, but I will say this, that adhering to that and really mastering it makes a huge difference in whether or not here with ACTIVZ, you will realize your why. They're just practical steps in taking a real pragmatic approach to building your business. So we want you to reach your why. David, you and I talk about this a lot. I remember when we got together for our very first time in April of 2017 was when I flew to Utah. I mean, we'd been meeting off and on over the period of a year, but that's when we came together officially, right? And I think it was April 17th of 2017. And the first thing we talked about was this. It was what is our vision and our mission statement? And it was all about helping people become a better version of who they are, right? We were throwing all kinds of things at the whiteboard there and at the Food for Health facility that we were both in. But this is what we centered on, purpose. And so that's my message today in September on this September Zoom. Get connected with your purpose. And again, if that's too woo for you, just try building a business and not knowing why you're here and not knowing what you want. So make sure you connect yourself with that. If you need help, go read the success guide again. There's also on the second to last page, David, I don't know how many people know this, but there are 5 recommended reading books there, or audiobooks, that we put in there a long time ago before we launched the company. And I recently went back to remind myself of what they were, and they are 5 of the best books that I've ever read. And so I've been rereading, or actually re-listening to one of them, and I would encourage everyone to do that. If you're looking for an extra shot in the arm, a little oomph and a little push, go ahead and do that. Check out the second to last page on the success guide. So, David, what are you thinking about? How do you see what month are we in? We're in September. What are you looking forward to here?
Well, it's great stuff. Like I said, September's already off to a great start. And you mentioned the ACTIVZ Academy in the first part of the month in Guadalajara. We just had a great, wonderful ACTIVZ school for English speakers on Saturday, which coincided, of course, with the 20th anniversary of that horrific event on 9/11. And what you just talked about in terms of the success guide was the theme for that meeting. And Diane Young and Karen Toth did a wonderful job providing great instruction, but basically saying, hey, if you want to be a novel distributor, try actually doing something we tell everybody to do, which is follow the success guide. So many people, I mean, it's kind of interesting to me. If we all decided we want to be a great chef, and we had this wonderful, I took my wife out to a great Italian restaurant on Friday night. Just the greatest food, maybe I think one of the best restaurants in Utah, period. And I highly recommend it. Walter's Osteria. Ryan, you've been there with me before.
Yeah.
It's a great place, right? And can you imagine, Walter is this great European chef, world-renowned, and if he decided to share one of his recipes in which he said all the ingredients and all the measurements and the methods, this is actually how you do it, and to make your favorite dish, okay? And then you said, you know what, I really do want the dish, but I'm not gonna follow any of those instructions. How likely is it that you're going to end up with the dish that you like so much? And that's really what it's like with the success guide. We have it say, and I might say, well, it's kind of hard to whisk that ingredient. I don't even know what a whisk is, let alone how to do it. Well, then guess what? You find out how to whisk. If you really want to have that dish, you learn how to whisk. And if you have any questions, there are great examples of how to follow each and every step in the success guide. And so that's and then Admiral Matt Winter closed off our meeting with a very, very emotional, as well as I don't want to use the word practical, but down to earth and heart tugging conversation about how we can overcome our fears. He talked about fears. Those who were in attendance, he talked about landing his fighter plane in the pitch black on a pitching deck of an aircraft carrier on a stormy night with cockpit lights that said that his plane was on fire. And talk about fear. And he had a couple of seconds to make some decisions as to what he was going to do, land, abort, all this kind of stuff. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend that you go back to it. But all of that said, as you were talking about the why, you're right. Our why do we create ACTIVZ? We really felt like our why was to do something different that was similar to, but actually had never been done before. We really wanted to, and as part of that, our why was really to make a difference in people's lives. People ask me all the time, why aren't you in retail? I've been down that route. I've met James Senegal, the founder of Costco, when he was still a CEO. I've been to corporate offices at Walmart. I've done all that kind of stuff. And they're nice people. But you don't have pictures like you just showed us from Guadalajara. You don't have pictures of such raw emotion and hugging. And isn't it awesome that every single person listening to this call and every single person that's involved in our country is only 1 degree or less removed from those people who we saw in the pictures. And they are part of us. We are part of this great family. And it's amazing to think that in the relatively short time that we've been around, we have literally, and I use that word literally, we have changed tens of thousands of lives. and multiply that exponentially. Think about how the tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of genes that we've touched. That kind of blows your mind away if you think about it that point. But we are making a difference. Everyone on this call is making a difference, and it simply starts with sharing. And it simply starts with having the desire, reminding yourself when your faith gets weak, why you got into it, just like you said, Ryan. I think it is great to fill our minds with the best books and great material and keep our cup full. And at the end of the day, just remember that what you're doing is, if you do your best, it's always good enough. Your best is always good enough. And we have great expectations, and you're even, frankly, every time I think I'm not going to get amazed by somebody, I am. Every time I think I've seen it all, I'm like, this tremendous success story, that tremendous success story. All of a sudden, Luis out of Mesquite arises. I'm like, are you kidding me? Where did that guy come from? Or somebody else, and I'm like, it's just unbelievable. And I love being part of this. I love being your partner. I love the team that we have and this company that we're building. It's not built yet, we're building, but every single day the foundation gets stronger. Every single day the height gets higher, and every single day the influence is stronger and longer and deeper, and every other adjective that I can think of. But it's a wonderful day to be part of ACTIVZ.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Thank you, David. I'm going to share something real quick in closing. In the spirit of what was shared this last weekend or a couple Saturdays ago in the ACTIVZ school, all about the success guide, would like to issue a challenge here. First of all, for all of you who don't know what it is, this is what it is. You can just Google it, type Success Guide ACTIVZ. It is the very first link that will show up in your browser. It's also in the virtual office. It's also in the app, and it also comes included in the Start Kit. And you can download the PDF, but again, if you don't have access to it, just Google it, Success Guide ACTIVZ. Here it is. I want to issue a challenge, David, because we talk about mastering the presentation. Really, not trying to become an expert in all things, but at least become good at your own story, right? At your own presentation and telling your story. That's what I mean by mastering the presentation. Master telling your story. But the success guide, right? Many people say, "Oh, I know about that." But they haven't mastered it, right? They haven't gone through, and they can't really explain. They can contact, but I've met a lot of people who can't explain how to contact. They can invite, but they can't quite explain how to teach someone more effective versus less effective ways of inviting or presenting or teaching someone else how to help someone overcome a challenge using stories and anecdotes. Now, there's a lot in this book and that goes through that. The reason why I'm sharing this is so many people also tell us, David, every day that yes, ACTIVZ is it for me. I'm going to take this to the top, right? I'm going to retire with this. I'm going to be able to quit my job because of this. I'm going to spend more time with my family, my parents, my kids. I'm going to be able to travel with this. And I come to find out that they haven't really mastered these different sections of what I'll call the duplication cycle or system. Now, this is, Tim Robbins wrote the book Good to Great, David. I know you remember that. Some of you remember it. He talks about sharpening your saw. This is what sharpening the saw is. Really understand this. And once you feel like, okay, I've mastered this, then you're well on your way to becoming a professional and treating this like a profession. Doesn't mean you have to quit your job today to do this full time, but getting to the top and success ultimately is a function of becoming a professional and treating this like a business in order to be paid as a business. So that's my challenge. I want to challenge everybody to go through, revisit this, reread it. And there's something else that goes along with it, because I meet people every day, David, as you do, who are really good at presenting or maybe really good about sharing their own testimonial. And they sometimes, and I've done this, I fall into a kind of a behavioral pattern where sometimes I'm like, boy, am I one trick pony? Am I just really good at telling this one story, but I can't explain the comp plan, or I can't explain science, or I don't know where my resources are. I don't, but I'm really good at telling the story. I think a lot of people listening to this are going to maybe identify with that and say, I'm kind of like that with some things. So I would encourage you again to go back to the success guide, because we touch on so many different topics, and this is all about using your tools. I'm gonna want to share something, David. You talk about this a lot, and I love it. I love it, but I want everyone to see it right here. This is a quote from Bernard Baruch. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So in the spirit of adding more tools to our tool chest, and not only trying to use the hammer for all of our jobs, really acquaint yourself with the success guide, right? So that you're not only good at telling your story, but you're also good at helping people overcome challenges. So you're not only good at explaining maybe how the products work, but you're also good at explaining to someone how to earn $500 a month, right? And you can do that in a minute. So by tools, I'm talking about knowledge. So really inculcate yourself, jump into it both feet. And I would love to hear from those of you who do that. And I would love to hear from any of you who start seeing results. I promise you that you will have results if you do that, right? This isn't just a game of luck or chance here. People that make it to the top and the people that we're working with right now, who every month are rank advancing, they're doing it. It's by design. It's not coincidence, and it's not an accident. They're doing it because they're implementing the principles and the tools of knowledge that they're acquiring from practice, but also what's in the success guide. So again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's my challenge to everybody here today, and my invitation. And please let us know how it goes. If you learn something new and if you implement something new, I'd love to hear about it. So David, those are my thoughts for this month's Founders Call, and I'll give you the final word.
Well, I'm excited. I want to run out here. I would say I'm running out with my hair on fire, but that's something you and I don't have to worry about. I would have to worry about burns on that particular thing. But when we talk about gene expression all the time. We talk about how our products are epigenetic, and they cause genes to do what they're already wired to do, but for whatever reason, they're not. Okay, they're not achieving their full potential. And at the risk of offending Madonna, I want us all to express ourselves. We need to express ourselves. All of us have these hidden abilities. I know you're old enough to remember that song. I see the grin on your face, Brian. But we, just like you said, we need to realize our latent talents and abilities. And just like those genes are being expressed to their maximum capability as you take our products to decrease inflammation, guess what? And increase your immune system. As we express ourselves, we'll be able to reach our full potential. Your reach will expand, and I want to just echo what you said. Let's express ourselves. Let's do this, and get out of our own ways. And that's and if that happens, the amazing things that we're already seeing will be multiplied exponentially, and our reach and the people that we're able to touch and help will also improve. So that's it. Have a wonderful September. Great to see you, Ryan. I'll see you again probably in a couple hours. And and in the meantime, have a great month, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great month.